Hi, so there's something about my current life that I've sort of been keeping from you. Unless actually you don't even know who I am and this is your first time watching one of my videos. In that case, my name is Drew Monson. I've been keeping everything from you. You don't even know that I'm Italian. I'm not, just joshing. Or should I say just Antonio-ing. By the way, can I just say for the record, and I know you might hear this and be like, I know, sweetheart, I'm white. That's not what this video is about. I mean, that's what all of my videos are about in some sense. But just because honestly, I swear, people have been hitting me lately with the question. They'll get a certain look on their face, they'll check you up and down, and they'll go, what are you, by the way? Like, I always wonder that, like, what are you? And you know how they mean it. It's not an existential thing. They don't want you to be like, what am I? Honestly, straight up, I'm energy. They think that you might be from an interesting country and they want answers. But the truth is, I'm a white person who can't drive. I am a white man who lives in California and walks around in the sun a lot. Like that. I go, hello, Mr. Sun. Hi, Carol. But I honestly think that's why some people think that I'm something else. Because I'm already olive-skinned and I top it off with some unintentional tanning. So that from now on actually is going to be my answer to the question. When somebody asks me, what are you? I'm just gonna look at them and say, honey, I'm a pedestrian. Also, I talked about this in my second channel, so I'll make it quick. I have new merch out. That's the picture. Do you like pictures? Here's a new one for you. It's in the JPEG format. Also, one of the shirts and the hoodies are based on the background of my videos. This little bird that I made in second grade that I felt like nobody cared about even though I worked really hard on it. I now stuck it back here so you have to look at it and now it matters and now it's on merch and now it matters. And also you can buy a CD or cassette tape of my newest album, I'm Dead, which is a lie, the album title. It's true. It's true that you can buy them, but it's fake that I'm dead. And you can buy them signed, like I'm gonna get a Sharpie out. And they're almost sold out, which is crazy. Like I feel like Johannes Montana over here, or Hannah Montana, sorry. By the way, now I'm kind of thinking about it. It is a weird combination of words. The only time that I could ever see those being said in that order are when somebody wants to know your ethnicity, and if you're in a science fiction movie and somebody like tries to stab you but only milk comes out and they're like, what are you? Like the tone is different. What are you? That's ethnicity. What are you? That's, oh my god, I just realized that you're half man, half machine. What a milky little guy you are. Like that type of vibe, sister. I'm so excited to get into the topic at hand and make this video right now, honestly, but I also have to make something even more important, and that's oatmeal. Actually, do you want to come with? Do you want to watch me make oatmeal? Yeah, okay, skip ahead if you don't care. But don't be rude about it. Don't start like an army of people in the comments like, who else skipped ahead from the oatmeal? I didn't like it, I didn't like it. Me neither, honestly. What's he think he's Chef Gordon Ramsay? It's simple as that, love, you not. Actually, you know what? I'll just continue with some of what I was going to say while I'm cooking oatmeal. You know what's weird? I just realized that I'm crazy. So, the reason I wanted to talk about this at all is because I got a hate comment the other day, believe it or not. I don't know why you'd ever be hating on a guy with a glass measuring cup. And maybe you're not like this, but just so you know, if you're insecure, somebody saying the right version of something mean to you will set your mind on like a journey. Like, it'll become the theme of your days for a while. Which honestly sometimes can be a good thing. Like, one time I got in a fight with somebody and they told me I looked like a horse. I went out and bought one the next day and then sent him a selfie of me and the horse together and said, guess which is which? And he goes, what? And I go, well, you shouldn't have a hard time with it, right? Anyway, the comment said, it was like you're so, sorry, water is louder than you'd think. It was like, oh my god, you're such a typical LA person. Everything you say is so LA with your little plastic LA life. You live in LA and you're annoying. And I had this moment where I was like, actually, that's not why I'm annoying, because I don't live there. By the way, annoying to them. I'm trying not to be one of those people anymore that like makes it my personality to say mean things about myself that are like kind of cute. And be like, I'm annoying as a treat. Me being annoying to one person could be like, oh my god, I think he's funny. Like, he's fun. Like, you never know what he's gonna say next. Like, it's kind of a lot, but I like it. To another. And why should I choose to call myself the thing that somebody who doesn't like me anyway calls me? Why? And why do I? Why is it always repeating in my head every day? Can you help me? Will it ever stop? Like, by the way, not sponsored at all, but I will say that the Target generic brand of oatmeal I've decided is better than Quaker Oats. Why? I don't know. I think the man in the hat got lazy. Look at his little smirk. He's clearly cutting costs and it's affecting the quality. I always throw a little bit extra in there and then a little bit more water too, because when you're making oatmeal, make sure that it's like the oats are taking a bath. You don't want a direct oat water ratio, like then the oats can't take a bath. They need a bath. Anyway, yeah, I don't live in LA anymore and I wanted to talk about out why, and what I liked about it, what I hated about it, what drove me away from it. Maybe you knew that already, by the way. I'm actually curious. Did you know I didn't live in LA anymore? Because honestly, like, for the past few years, I've been talking about how, like, the only thing I ever do anymore is hang out with my parents. My parents don't live in Los Angeles, okay? I'm not Dakota Johnson. I'm Drew-Coda Monson, okay? And I'm making oatmeal. Look at that, that's my slop. What if I poured it on my head right now and I started getting mad? I was like, it's too hot, it's too hot! That actually might go viral on Tik. Does anyone make this joke? Like something like, I got Lyme disease from TikTok? It has been an interesting transition though. Like from living in I wish this wasn't as clumpy as it is. Like going from a place where at any point you could be like, Adam Levine is within a 7-mile radius. I actually did used to think about that when I lived in LA, because I lived in the same like area as Adam Levine. And whenever I'd go to CVS, I'd be like, today might be the day that I pickpocket Adam Levine. But I think that's why a lot of people move. Like if you live in Los Angeles, you're in the same town as like almost every famous person. Like if you see Joaquin Phoenix on TV, you could be like, oh, I live in the same town as that guy. You're not gonna see him, like he's out, you know, climbing a tree or something. I don't know, am I crazy? Like I feel like Joaquin Phoenix is either climbing a really, really tall tree or burying himself alive for like 10 minutes. Like it's one side of the earth or the other with him. By the way, I forgot to say actually, ooh. Ooh.
Ooh, I'm sponsored by Factor. They got the flavors I'm after. I don't feel like cooking stuff, chopping, prepping, cleaning, lunch. Take me to the microwave, never frozen, that's insane. Think I'll ever be the same since I got sponsored by Factor. They got the flavors I'm after. You're asking who got sponsored by Factor. I'll tell you, Drew got sponsored by Factor.
My Factor meal is almost done. I'm joking about laughing. I thought it would make you happy. I'm just gonna try the guy right now and I'll be honest with you. This smells naughty nice. That's good. I guess they have actual chefs make these or come up with the recipes. An actual chef made me, by the way. My dad's a chef, just kidding. Gee, that's actually good. You know how frozen meals are usually like weird pizza or like lasagna that's already burnt? This, they use like real ingredients, and I don't know, it doesn't seem like a microwave thing. Seems like dad, ma, grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle made it. I hadn't tried this one yet, but I've been eating these. They're good and also convenient because I get hungry like all of a sudden sometimes and I can't even imagine making something. So 2 minutes in the Mikey is helpful. So honestly, go to factor75.com or click the link below and enter the code Thanks Drew OMG50 for 50% off your first Factor box. Factor is owned by HelloFresh, by the way. I forgot to say that. I like them both. They're both good. Okay, that's 50% off your first Factor box on factor75.com. Enter code Thanks Drew OMG50. It is good though. If you do ever buy it, please use my code. It helps me not to be rude. Thank you. Goodbye. But I've been thinking about it lately because I've made all these videos about like my life and these things that have happened to me, but for some reason I kept leaving this out. And I think that privacy is important, but at the same time I started thinking about it like, why am I saying this but not that? Like the things that I've talked about in my videos include my history with substance abuse, going to rehab, all of my slightly worrying thoughts and emotions on Instagram when I'm feeling needy sometimes. That one time that I went on a date to the movies and we kept being like, dang, it smells really bad in here, and like blaming it on other people in the theater. And then we ended up leaving because it smelled so bad, and it turned out that it still smelled bad because my shoes smelled so bad. So given that, I feel like why not? I do enjoy having secrets. There's a few things about me that I don't know if I'll ever tell you that are really interesting. That being said, I am 28. I've been making videos since I was 12. I don't have any plans to get another job or know what that would be. When do people retire? Like 65? What I'm saying is that eventually you're probably gonna know everything. I'm gonna run out of things to talk about. Like one day I'm gonna be 79 years old. Like, you know what? All right, fine. Here's the tea. No more clickbait. Let's do this. So subscribe, hit that bell. Secrets are fun too because if you have enough, people don't really get to know you. And then when they don't like you, you can be like, well, you didn't know me anyway. Shut up. And also, once you're ready to tell a secret, you can do my favorite thing, which is, you know, to go, guess what? Which also is a really good way, by the way, to get people to text you back. Just hit them with a guess what. They will be mad when it's revealed that you don't actually have anything. They won't trust you anymore. Keep that in mind. But you will have a new text in your phone. And that ain't nothing. Neither is this. But yeah, I live in like a boring suburb now. I went to a store the other day and the lady ringing me up recognized me. No big deal. Stop. Why are you blushing? But she was doing like the and she went, Drew, why are you here? And I was like, to buy Tums and a blue Gatorade Zero. But I was like, oh, I live here. Like I was born here, I live here. And she was like, really? In a Walgreens? Just kidding. This really happened though. Was that a good story? That's the end of it. I also hesitated to talk about this because I knew that some people, not everyone, would read into it. Because like when I left the internet for like the longest time a few years ago, you know, there was some videos and people like speculating. I heard he's here. I saw him walking. He looked happy. I saw him walking. He looked grumpy. And not that I'm like that relevant, but I thought that maybe if I mentioned like moving from LA, people would be like, I know why. And like come up with reasons, and then maybe, just maybe, there's like a video of me in the thumbnail looking scared, and the exposure on the picture is all the way up and I look really ugly. And it's called like, why YouTubers run from Hollywood. And next to my face in quotes it says like, they abandoned me. And I'm like, I never said that, but then I look back at my last video and there was like an offhand moment where like I see two birds outside and I'm like, oh my god, there's like two really cute, oh, they just flew away, they abandoned me. Is there anything worse than police sirens? I hate it. Like the way that they've designed them. I understand that they're trying to get a point across, but if you're already doing the wow, do you really have to bring in the We don't need that. Like, send him home. I got it. I'm pulling over. Okay, now you're just being mean. Anyway. Let me actually put my dining room chairs behind me. I want my apartment to look more full. That's nice. But yeah, I've talked about some of this before, but like when I moved to LA, it was very exciting. I had these big agents, I walked a few red carpets, I was in a couple movies, I was on this reality show, that was really weird. I was meeting celebrities sometimes, kind of. I don't think they liked me, but I met them. I can't believe that that's true, you know? Like I feel so removed from my life then. I'll literally be sitting eating oatmeal and have a moment where I'm like, that was me. And I don't know if you ever have a moment like this with certain memories or times in your life. Part of me wants like a time machine so badly to go back there, and another part of me wants to destroy all time machines. Not that they exist, but if they did, just take a hammer to them to erase all possibility that I would ever be there again. And just to sum up some things I already talked about, I feel sort of annoying talking about them again. I sort of wish there was like a skip recap button like on Netflix. That actually would be really helpful, like when somebody starts telling you a story that you've already heard. Like when somebody's like, I told you about when I went to college and I got addicted to raving, right? And you're like, skip recap. But just to sum up some stuff, 2018, I got myself into trouble, ran out of money, went to rehab, moved home with my family, started making videos again, moved back to LA, got into trouble again because rehab's a scam. I don't feel like that every day, but today I'm feeling like that. Actually almost got evicted from my apartment that time I lived in LA. I don't know if I actually told this exact story. It's kind of funny. I had been, you know, having a lot. Too many, you know, enough to kill a human over time. And I was trying to wash my hands and I turned on the faucet and no water came out. And I was just out of it. I was like, eh. And I didn't turn the faucet back off. And then when I went out on my balcony for like a half an hour having a few of the hee yes sirs, I didn't even know what was happening. I get a call from my landlord. Drew, what is happening? The apartment under you is starting to flood. And I was like, The what under what is starting to what? So yeah, they had turned the water back on and my faucet was on the on position. My sink had been clogged for months, but I didn't want to tell them because I didn't want anybody to come into my apartment. It was disgusting. That filled up. My bathroom was flooded with water. It was like inching into the hallway. Usually I think they have to give you like 24 hours, at least in California, before they enter your apartment, but they didn't have time for that. It was an emergency. So the maintenance guys came in and saw my pigsty. And you know, like if a stranger sees your pigsty, you gotta go back home. You gotta leave town. And yeah, like those issues, that's why I left again for the second time. But I also haven't gone back again to Los Angeles because I'm kind of done with it. And I've been thinking about it a lot because, you know, to a lot of people, LA, which stands for Los Angeles, not Long Arnold, but to a lot of people, like, LA is the place to be. It's where it's all happening. It's the goal. It's the my life doesn't actually matter unless I'm there type of place. People are there doing big things. I'm here doing small things. They're big, I'm small, I'm baby, they're mommy. That type of thought process. And also New York City, I guess, but I don't know. I've been there a couple times. I went there in the summer. It was way too humid. It was disgusting. And go ahead, New York City people, come and fight me. Come and find me. You probably won't even be able to fight me because, and I don't mean this in a rude way, you're too sweaty. Here's the thing. People talk about LA and you tell them you live in LA or you went to LA and they go, oh my God, LA, isn't everyone there like fake? And like to people who haven't been there, I don't know if that perception is based on like a fictional teenage show that took place in LA that they saw, or that they think that like Beverly Hills, like the most rich and fancy celebrity shopping area of Los Angeles, is Los Angeles when it's not. It's just like a neighborhood. And the truth is, like, first of all, LA is huge. Like, there's over 9 million people there. The population is bigger than like 40 US states. I said like, I just read that on Wikipedia. I wanted to pretend like I was going into the depths of my knowledge. Like, I think, no, I know that because I just read that. But 9 million people, like, you think all of them are like LA fake? Like, think about that number. Like, count to 9 million, pause the video and count to 9 million right now. You couldn't even do it, could you? You're a child. If you can't count to 9 million, by the way, you have ADHD. And I pray for you every night. But like, LA is not just Hollywood. Like, there are dentists and lawyers and window washers and people who work at Popeye's Chicken, people with no job, people with no house, people with no mustache because they shaved it last week. It's not like everyone. It's not like, oh, you know my 80-year-old cardiologist? Like, he's good. Like, he knows what he's doing, but like, he's from LA, so like, you know, he's fake. Like, he literally said that my blood pressure reading looked good, and then I overheard him talking to his nurse saying that it was laughable, and I'll be lucky if I don't have a heart-related incident within the year. But then you know he's liking all of my stories on Insta still. I'm like, Earl? So there's a few main reasons why I don't live in Los Angeles anymore, and I tried to organize them a bit on my phone so I can properly explain. Number one, simple stuff, money. I'm paying like at least $1,000, maybe $1,200 less dollars per month to live here than in Los Angeles for like the same amount of space and quality. And like, I don't need LA. Like, I can live anywhere and do little videos in my room. That's what I do now. Like, it's not 2015. I'm not doing the taco challenge with Tyler Oakley. I mean, I never was, because as I've mentioned before, he never followed me back on Twitter, even though he would @mention me sometimes, but that's another story. And the story is Tyler Oakley's playing a game, and I see you, sir. I understand. Have fun. I hope you have fun with your toy. That toy being Drew, that Drew being me. It's weird because like, I moved to LA and there's a lot to do. Like, that's why people go there. There's concerts and events and opportunities. But for the most part, I've accepted that I'm a guy who like goes back and forth between sitting on my couch and watching TV and going in my room and like trying to make little things, and walks to like whatever park with swings, grocery or department store is closest to me at the time. Somebody is hammering next door, and I don't know, do you ever hear somebody hammering? So much, but it's like, I don't know what you could be building. Like, what takes that much hammering? Like, tables aren't that big. There's only 4 corners to them. Like, is it for NASA? What? I go to one store by my house so often, by the way. I went there the other day. You know, I always have a backpack on because I get scared when I don't have snacks available. It just makes me uncomfortable, and I always have a fantasy that I'll get stranded like in the snow one day and someone will come find me eventually, and there'll be one of those news stories where it's like, nervous man survived on backpack snacks for 72 hours. Read on to see how he rationed his peanut butter puffs. And by the way, he has a YouTube channel. Like, it'll be good for my career as well. Actually, I hope now that I don't get stranded in the snow, because you know I'm gonna die. And then that clip of me saying that will be like a big thing, and then my family won't even get to grieve properly because I'll be a dead meme. The snow boy who didn't have enough snacks, people will be doing remixes daily. But I went to the store with my backpack on, and when I walked in, one of the employees was there. She was like, sir, actually you can't have that. And one of the other employees stopped that employee and was like, he's good. And I realized, like, I didn't even know that they had a no backpacks policy because it doesn't apply to me. Like, that's how often I come to this Rite Aid. I've circumvented the no backpacks policy. There are a lot of people in LA where the first time that you meet them, they will tell you about 3 to 5 famous people that they know. And let me just give you a little tippy right now. If you meet somebody and they immediately start dropping names of people that they know, they don't know those people. They might have met them a couple, maybe a few times, but if you asked that famous person, like if you meet somebody named Tyler, let's say, and I pray that I do, and within 2 hours he goes like, well, you know, Post Malone is one of my buddies. If you went and showed Post Malone a picture of little Tyler, or medium Tyler, whatever, he would be like maybe, he'd be like, oh yeah, I think, yeah, my friend hangs out with that guy. People who are actually like friends or like close with famous people, they don't talk about it. They don't even want you to know. Famous people, for the most part, I've observed, are pretty like aggressively selective about who they surround themselves with. They don't want to be around like uncool, needy people who want to use them. Don't get me wrong, they want to be around people who need them and worship them to a certain extent, but they want to have some control over that. That being said, you can only control so much, and there's always going to be interlopers because famous people's friends have friends. And those friends of friends don't have the same level of judgment. They bring them around the house, and then all of a sudden, Tyler's saying, I know Post Malone. Tyler infiltrated through a weak link in Posty's friend group. Do you understand what I'm saying? Are there people in LA that line up with that LA stereotype you hear about? Yes, and they're very annoying, and I was becoming one of them. You will meet people in LA who like talk about their brand and how they need to network, and they're not like joking around by using those words. And networking, I guess, means like pretending to be somebody's friend in order to get something, but you're both admitting that that's what's happening, I think? I've never really understood it. But also think about it, like people can be fake, right? Like I'm sure if you go to like the Jersey Mike's break room, if you don't know what Jersey Mike's is, it's a sandwich shop. This video is not sponsored by Jersey Mike's. I've never had one before. I'm sure that they're really disgusting. But I'm sure that like in that environment, people will see somebody they know and be like, hey, and then walk away and be like, I hate her. I hate her so much. I hate her life. I hate seeing her live her life. Because like they're at work, like you can be passive aggressive. Oh, I know you can. But you have to behave yourself like for the most part. But in LA or like in Hollywood, like it really is all about connections. Like people give parts to their friends. People get jobs left and right from knowing somebody. People become a writer on a show because somebody they met is the showrunner of a show and they're like, oh, I know that guy. He's funny. He should be a writer. So in that sense, like the entire city is the Jersey Mike's break room. Like people are fake and social climbing and using each other because honestly, I think it works. And I find that so stupid. Like the closer I got and have gotten to like the world of famous people and famous things, the more I hated it so much and thought it was so ridiculous and meaningless. And what's weird about it is like, it is, and I feel like everybody knows that. Like nobody looks at fame and money and like hanging out with famous people and is like, that's what life is all about. We all need love and that's where I'm going to get it. Everybody knows like, oh, this is stupid and plastic and probably meaningless, and I also want to be a part of it really badly. Like maybe you don't feel this way, but I did. Like, have you ever felt like there's a big cool party going on somewhere in the world that you just aren't invited to? And I'm here to tell you, like, there is. Absolutely. It's going on right now. And sometimes it's an actual party, and sometimes it's just like a lifestyle of access to income and important people. But honestly, I really believe this. Famous people are kind of boring. They're just boring people who talk about their career a lot and take themselves really seriously. And for some reason, they're supposed to. And there's a lot of people like that, but with famous people, when they do it, everyone's like, whoa. But like I said, if you took away everything that they mean in the world, like their place in culture, if you strip that away, it's like if you took the value away from a dollar bill. It's just a piece of paper. Like, what do I do with this green piece of paper? He looks stupid. I'm gonna throw it away. I know I sound negative, but like more and more in my life, I just hate like cool stuff. I hate like the social rules of like, this is a place that only these types of people can go to. Like in LA, there's always like a few places, like restaurants that have like a line around the block and you go, what's that? And it turns out that it's like the hip, trendy spot that everybody's talking about, and sometimes famous people go there, and we like that. And I've always felt like, why would you want to go there? I don't want to be around people who want to be at that place for that reason. Like, I don't want to be at a party for cool people where they shun people based on their clout or lack of clout. Because the requirement for being at that party is that you value those things and think it makes sense, and you're sitting there like, yes, I deserve this. Others don't. And that's so So dumb. And by the way, what I was ever involved in for the most part was like the YouTube version of all of this. I don't even know what that would be right now. I tried to watch the Streamies the other night. I don't know if you know what that is. It's like a YouTube Internet Awards show. I don't want to be mean, but it was the worst thing I've ever seen in my entire life. I don't want to go to VidCon. You can't make me and like schmooze and network with like Twitch celebrities wearing funny hats and like take a selfie with them and post it with a sarcastic caption to try and convince a slice of their audience pie to come over and sit at my dessert table. You know what I mean? And let me be clear, like, cause I feel like I'm talking about all of this mindset like I'm so much better than it, and I am a little bit, but at the same time, I am that. There is a part of me that is that and wants to be that and tries to be that and loves the sliver of me that is that. I'm not like 100% Mr. Normal. Like, you can see how much money I get on Patreon per month. I get myself nice hotel rooms sometimes. I've flown myself first class like twice. I was a little bit HIGH when I bought the tickets, but the transaction was still approved. There's a part of me that like when I get recognized like I did at the store with that lady said who are, what, I forget, that loves that and loves how important I feel. But I try to keep it in check. And I think that moving away from LA is me attempting to do that, partly. I walk around where I live so much that even when I do get recognized, most of them are like, oh yeah, I always see you walking around with your backpack. It's like not even that exciting to them. It's like seeing your teacher at the mall. It's exciting to a certain extent, but I'm not like quaking over seeing Mr. Bradley at Macy's. Cause like, you know, I'm pretty successful at what I do. I'm not number one at all. I'm pretty far down the list, but I'm high up enough that I could play more into that like social status thing. But I don't know if that's good for you and your growth as a person to chase that and to start feeling like you deserve this because you are different than other people. And it's not just like a series of little moments of luck and also for some reason being pretty good at monetizing your mental illness. I had a moment I almost don't want to tell you about, but I feel like is relevant to what I'm saying because I just have to be honest here. Because I think about it a lot, honestly, and I don't know if this person that I interacted with does, but I got recognized with like other famous friends or whatever at a theme park once, and they were so and it was like the peak of, oh my god, and you're with them, and oh my god, and this girl, she was so sweet, and she was my age, and she goes, I want to be friends with you. I want to be friends with you guys so badly. Like, I just want to be your guys' friend. And for some reason, I know that I was like trying to be funny, but I know that there was like a 3% part of me that kind of meant it. It's so horrible. I literally looked at her and was like, you never will be. And I think I might have been like, just kidding, or like smiled, maybe they laughed too, but just the fact that I even said that and maybe a part of me deep down believed it and believed that there's like me, this type of person, other people, those types of people, important, not important. I don't want to be that. I don't like that I was that. I want to humble myself as much as I can. And I know myself and I know what I thought I was doing and what joke I thought I was making. I don't know about you, but my life has definitely been like a slow burn process of me learning that a lot of the jokes I instinctually think are going to be funny are not. Not at all. Don't say that. That's it. I'm going back to the living room. I don't know if this even matters to you. I just thought I'd explain in case it's confusing. I'm feeling kind of antsy today. I'm probably going to go back and forth a bit. And I miss my oatmeal bowl. It comforts me. LA is overwhelming in many different ways. First of all, it is overpopulated and you can feel that. It is chock full of people who wanted to live in the special place and are putting up with the sardine can element to feel themselves inside the special place. Like I said, I don't drive, but even being a passenger on the freeway in Los Angeles is a panic attack. It's horrible. It's like a video game. It's like a movie with The Rock Johnson in it. A bad one. I like living somewhere where people don't even cut each other off or swerve around traffic that much because there isn't traffic, because people don't even go that many places because there's nowhere to go. And when they do go somewhere, they don't even care if they get there on time. Like, my boss is my cousin. She's not gonna fire me. And also, I think that having the option to do so many fun things and the idea that something out there is happening right now can just make me feel frozen. It's kind of like when you're sitting next to somebody and you boot up the Roku and try and find something to watch, but you just find yourself having to like, oh, I've seen that. Have you seen that? And it's just that for like the length of a movie. And then you always just end up watching a video on YouTube that you saw 30% of earlier and wasn't that good. Not this one. I don't mean this one. You engage with my content in a different way, right? I'm talking about the ones by those people who make videos called like, the TikTok therapist got divorced. And you're like, who's the All right, fine. And when I lived in LA, I was always feeling like I should be making the most of this. I left my family for this. I'm paying more rent for this. And Friday night would roll around and I'd be like, I gotta party. I gotta do something. It's Friday night, Los Angeles, baby. And I literally would just like make popcorn. Like a big bowl. And honestly, the good thing about living in a boring, or as I would call it, more chill type of place is that there's less pressure. And on Saturday night, sometimes you go, what am I gonna do? There's nothing to do anyway. It's not on me that I'm not doing anything on Friday night. That's the city's fault. They don't have any parties. And honestly, anyway, as I get older, as I'm nearing 30, I've learned that I get exhausted faster than I thought. I think it's gotten worse, but I think it was happening anyway, and I just wasn't accepting or realizing that fact. Like sometimes just sitting in a room full of like more than 2 people, my throat will start hurting from talking while nervous too much. You know what I mean? Sometimes I'll try to like make plans to see 2 different people, and then I'll exercise and I'll run some errands. By the way, I love the word errands. I always think about a mom with the towel on her head after taking a shower, but I'll think that I can do all this stuff and I've got my energy, and then I'll like call a friend to like pump myself up for my day, and that 35-minute phone call, I'm already tired. But anyway, you can have a friend who lives in LA. Oh, we both live in LA. It takes an hour to get there, an hour to come back. That's like road trip. Like, you know when people say that? Road trip. And like road trip is fun, but I don't want to be saying road trip to like go and sit on somebody else's couch and kind of look at my phone. And also, let me just say in general, because I've been thinking about this too, there is a huge stigma out there about living where you were born. And I think I kind of get where it comes from at first. Like, it's good to see the entire world and different cultures or types of people or whatever, learning about what's out there. But the idea that it's like sad to still be where you came from, I don't know. Because like, I'm genuinely curious, like why? Like, is it because of the length of time? Because like, if you're born somewhere and then you move away at age 18 and people are like, oh good, does that mean that you have to move one more time when you turn 36? Like, does it reset again every 18 years? Or is it just because you were like a baby there? Like, why is it sad to stay where you came from, but not sad to move somewhere else and stay there for even longer? I honestly don't know. Like, you know how in movies, there's always a character who's like, one day I'm gonna get out of here. I'm gonna leave this place. Whenever I watch those movies, like since I was a kid, I was always like, why? Like, I get it, it's like their trauma. Their life has sucked there, the people around them don't get it. But to be honest with you, I think that it was sort of backwards for me. Like, I always kind of liked my little boring town. I liked sitting at my computer and typing and clicking and walking around looking at trees, listening to Foster the People pumped up kicks over and over again while pumping my own kicks. But I moved to LA because it seemed like the place to do entertainment industry stuff and what I wanted to do. I felt like I was talented. I wanted to go show the people in LA, like, look at me, look at what I can do. And do that thing, you know when people do this, remember when people used to do it and it was like they were switching knees? But then I feel like I had a bunch of trauma there, and I became the guy who's like, one day I'm gonna get out of this place that I've lived in for 18 months. One day I'm gonna leave this town for good. And then I did. I came back here and I'm like, that's more like it. By the way, don't get me wrong, I had trauma when I was a kid too. I qualify for that, okay? Just so we're clear, like if you put people in different categories, like I'm in that one. At the same time though, like let me be clear, I love LA too. I know I'm contradicting myself, but it's sunny and it's kind of beautiful. You have to go there to feel there's an energy there. But number one, if there's an energy in a place, I have to be careful. Because I've already got energy, and when I get too much energy, I start wanting to go wild. And when I go wild, I go to rehab. But the other thing is, I wonder if you can live somewhere without the magic of it kind of going away. Like, I don't know if you're like this, but I get really intensely excited about new things, whether it's an idea or a place or a product, but I get just as tired and uninterested in them It's like when you get a new laptop and it's exciting, it's shiny, there's a box, you already know what the box looked like because you watched people unboxing it on YouTube, but now the box is in your house. Like, I got that box now. And then 3 weeks later, it's smudged like everything else. Like, no matter what you do, it's smudged. And maybe it would have been better if you had just kept watching YouTube videos of people using the clean new version of it. Like, I almost feel like if a place is really cool, it's better to just like visit and vacation. Because if you want to live somewhere because it's exciting and cool, things don't stay exciting and cool for that long. But that being said, if it makes you comfortable, if a place makes you comfortable, that remains, I think. That doesn't get stale, like a trust that you have in a place or even a person. I know it might sound boring to other people, but like I like walking around a place that I've been to a million times and being like, there's that, hey, that's still there. It's kind of like, have you ever met somebody who like still has an iPhone 7? And like, that's their little buddy, you know? They're like, I can't part with my headphone jack. That's kind of how I feel about where I live. Like, the screen's a tiny bit cracked, I get it, but like, we've been through so much together. Like, this guy was in my pocket when I went to Paris. Back to the bedroom, you get it. That being said, LA is a very exciting place, but for me, like, you can walk around and listen to music anywhere. You can even do it inside when it's raining. You ever do that? Kitchen, living room, headphones, kitchen, living room, let's go. I really enjoy sitting with a friend and watching a stupid TV show and pausing it every 3 minutes to tell each other something we forgot to tell each other, or let the other person know about some theory we came up with recently and see what they have to say about it. I like to sweep my kitchen floor and vacuum and clean my counters and my toilet while I get sweaty and listen to a podcast. I really like that. I don't know why, I like it. And I like doing this right now, talking to you, whoever you are. Quinn? Is it Quinn? And I don't need to be in LA to do those things. And if I was, especially the one about watching TV, there'd be a greater probability that when we pause the TV show, the person who I was hanging out with in LA would be like, did I tell you that I met Tom Holland's dad? And I'd be like, oh God, why did I move back to LA? Okay, yeah, tell me about Tom Holland's dad. I guess that matters. And they'd be like, he's my friend's sugar daddy. That's not true, by the way. That's an example. I've not heard that at all. I'm not kidding right now, just so I don't get sued by the Hollands. I made that up. It's a joke and I'm trying to entertain Quinn right now. And like I said, I feel very disconnected from my time living in Los Angeles. The internet has told me that's a sign of trauma. To be fair, the internet says a lot of things are that. I think they said that having a name that starts with the letter D is a sign of trauma. Because humans, technically, this is true, weren't made to make the D sound, like it hurts our tongues. D, like you see that? D, like ow. But really, I think about it, like maybe that's true. Maybe I don't want to face my past. Maybe I don't want to be in Los Angeles. Maybe I like being disconnected from it because I don't want to go connect to it. And let me just say, I feel like I've sort of explained this before, but I feel like I always have to mention it. I know that there's things that you want me to talk about, but I, for myself and my own life and my own well-being, have accepted that it's okay that like I don't know how to talk about things publicly, that I don't know fully how to deal with right now privately even. Like, think about something bad that you've been, or you don't have to, but really think about all of the mixed feelings that happen with something that is hard and the calculations you do in your head to try and figure out like why something bad happened and if it's your fault. You feel differently about it in the morning than you do at night sometimes. Take all of that into consideration. Now go and try and make a video about it. I mean, maybe you already have. I haven't seen your TikTok. I don't want to get Lyme disease. And then also keep in mind that when you say those things, they then will probably be stripped of the context you wanted to put them in and like paraphrased by some person in a video, delivering them to some person who's just like hungry for some drama and also hungry for the Taco Bell that they're about to eat while they half listen to like a sensationalized version of what you actually said. You have to admit that that doesn't sound appealing, Quinn. And I just want to say, if you live in like a boring place or whatever, just know sometimes an exciting place is too exciting. Or you think it's exciting and then you look back 8 years later and it was actually kind of dark and scary. And sometimes going somewhere else doesn't change things the way you think it will anyway. I'm not trying to discourage you if you like are trying to get away from a bad situation and the place you're at isn't safe or whatever. You have your own life and I wish you well. But you know how you can like plan a vacation and drop $700 and find all of the best things to do and research it and go on Yelp and make sure, but it just doesn't hit? Like you go to the beach, you plan a beach day with the people that you love. And that's the beach, baby! They got waves, they got sand! I just remembered I had a dream where I was like in sand and Taylor Swift was there. I know you don't care, but I was like going like this through sand and I was telling my friend, I was like, it feels like I'm flying, and the sand was like, I was in the sand. But what I'm saying is it can be like the most fun place, like a house on a lake, but the second you get there, you're like, oh, that's right, I also have to be in a good mood to have a good time. And that just doesn't like automatically happen because of the amount of money you spent or the city that you're currently living in. Good times happen for other reasons, like because you did something that you're proud of yourself for recently and you're feeling that warmth still. Or you're around people that you love and trust and they're making you feel safe, or some other reason that you can't pinpoint enough to even try and control. The truth is, I have had some really boring, bad times in some really exciting places and situations. And I've also had like some of the best times in my entire life just like in somebody's car or like on the grass at a park. I've been around my family a lot more recently and I love them, and like I don't know where else to get that type of love. And a lot of the situations I was in LA where there was a celebrity there and people were recognizing me more and I felt important and there was a red carpet. It was fun, but I didn't feel love. I felt mania, and mania will trick you into thinking that you're feeling love, and then once the mania's gone, you're like, that wasn't love. Like I left LA and I got to hang out with my grandma a lot. These past few years for the last few years of her life. And I would ride the bus there and I'd put on a movie and she'd sit and I would lay on the floor because my back hurt. And I just had that feeling, you know when you have that feeling where you're just like, this is so simple and this is like life. Like I'm living life right now. Like I just lived life. I can tell that you know what I mean? Like I'd be on the bus going home, there'd be no traffic, I'd be the only one in there sometimes, and it would be dark outside, and I wasn't overwhelmed, and I'd be like, this isn't exciting, but it is special, and I am where I was born. And I liked that because it feels right. Like it's where I was born and it's where I live. Leave me a comment, I'm very lonely. Leave me a comment, I'm very lonely. Leave me a comment, I'm very lonely. Da 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 do. Hey, hi, hello, 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 hello. Just kidding. Thanks for watching my video until even after I sang the song. I haven't done it on the guitar for a while. Does anyone else notice these things except for me? Besides me? I just watched the video back, like I filmed the video and this is like it's like later at night right now. That was during the day. I was watching it back, it's kind of depressing. Like it was funny, but I felt like I was making all these points while I was saying it, but then I watched it back, I was like, I think you might just have depression. Like, it was a little misanthropic. I was like, geez, dude, think you might want to rejoin society at some point? No. Nah, come on. I'm gonna go talk on my Patreon for a little longer about like DMs and stuff. Nothing too interesting. I always say that because I'm so scared that you're gonna subscribe to my Patreon and be like, this sucks. But I will give you your money back if you hate it. That's how insecure I am. It's not ethics, I'll tell you that much. I have a deep fear that one day there'll be a class action lawsuit against my Patreon for not being funny enough. And people who have subscribed to it and been disappointed will take the stand, and the lawyer will be like, show me how you reacted the first time you saw Drew Monson Patreon video. And the girl's just like, Well, how can I show you a reaction when there was none? So you mean to tell me there was no laughter? None at all, miss, or none at all, Your Honor. Or you don't call the lawyer Your Honor. I'll see you soon. I hope you stay stable, okay? Can we do that? Just for a couple weeks? No, you don't have to. Hey, if it feels good to let loose, then let loose. This is you. This is you in 3 days. Just kidding. Look, my hand. That's actually beautiful. I love you, Drew's hands. I love you, Drew's hands. I love you, Drew's hands. Aren't you glad you stuck around? Good night.